to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Thursday, April 16th, 1 week away from the NFL Draft. It's the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Jason Moore. Although this morning it was like Jason FORE.
Oh, that's not nice.
We
honestly,
went golfing this morning.
What do you mean? Well, you only yell FORE when you're like about to hit someone, right?
But
it's something you can say before you even swing.
Really? I think there's rules to this.
If you know what they're going to do. No, you played fine. I was a little disappointed because the last time I went out with Al Borland and we played some golf, he didn't finish the round. And it was really entertaining for us. It was frustrating for him. But today he was fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say good.
Well, that's fine.
But he was fine.
Yeah, it was better than one guy.
Which one guy was that?
Oh, don't.
FORE! Oh! I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. I knew as soon as he brought it up, we're going to get around to Jeremy beat me by one stroke. And let the record show.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this.
Okay. Let the record show right now.
I'm going to let it.
$100 one-on-one anytime you want.
Oh, they're playing next week, aren't we?
Yeah. Put some money on it.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Put some money on it.
$100.
Oh.
$1,000.
Hello, everybody. We don't play golf that often. I think this is like the second time in 15 years.
Maybe this will be competitive.
Maybe this will be a thing now. Mike Wright is here. I think I only introduced Jason.
That's all right.
FORE.
I'm
Andy Holloway.
The rules of
golf?
FORE. No, the rules of we don't have time.
It's once you hit and you know that it's headed towards a person.
I'm saying you're on a golf course. You hear that word.
Yeah.
Do you just
you duck?
I heard it today.
You just duck and cover
On the 9th hole.
Yeah.
Someone yelled FORE, and and I think it was Jeremy. We were standing next to each other. We both just basically dropped to our knees and put our hands over our head, like we're
like
gonna die immediately.
Shooting?
Yeah, I mean, it was. What else do you do? You don't know. You're not going to be like, well, let me turn around and inspect where the ball is coming from.
Yeah, it's just a quick warning, a quick word. I think that was Baby Jake who hit that ball. But here we are. We've got far too much to cover on today's episode to talk any more about Jason and Jeremy's rivalry on the golf course. We have our top 15 early wide receiver rankings today to get into. We just did our running back rankings on the last episode if you want to hear those. Some really good discussions, I think, about a ton of those players. I think in particular what stood out to me is the way that you value players like Jacobs, Barkley, Henry versus taking upside of players like Hampton, Ken Walker, anybody with a new scenario, new situation, or hasn't done it before, but seems like they should be able to do it versus the kind of tried and true veterans.
And it seems like consensus right now is that the younger hotness could be stars are drafted ahead.
Yeah, and that is that's a tough one. In fantasy, you kind of know that. I mean, I think you brought it up with, I don't know if it was CMC or somebody else, but it was like, you know that the efficiency over time isn't going to get better. I don't think it was CMC.
That was Barkley.
It was Barkley. You're not really going to get a better season, and that's where that decision comes. It makes it very difficult. But we'll get into the wide receiver position today. I don't really know where our disagreements are here. I have my rankings. You guys did yours. We have the consensus today. We'll walk through it. Got a quick question as well. Before we get into that, I want to invite you right now. You want to get in on the UDK pre-order. I promise. We have some special stuff coming up. We'll announce it next week ahead of the draft, but it will be everybody that has the pre-order will be eligible for it. So there are two ways to make sure you have the UDK. You can go just purchase the UDK at ultimatedraftkit.com, or you can go to jointhefoot.com and become an Ultimate Foot Clan supporter. That is a year-round membership. You get access to all of our premium tools, apps, resources, the draft kit, the in-season tools, the lineup optimizer, everything that we come out with.
Including all the Dynasty stuff that drops right after the draft. So we have another big Dynasty Pass update. Our rankings are redone, and a ton more comes out once we know where these players are. And that will be released shortly after the conclusion of the draft, which I got to tell you, like right now, it's turned a corner. I know you opened the show and said we're 1 week from the draft.
Yep.
Yes. It feels like the draft is tomorrow now, and it hasn't felt like it's like, okay, we are here. I am ready. I am amped. Let's get this thing going.
Ready to get that wide receiver to the Browns that you've all been
get it out of the way.
Don't forget the Jets
and the Dolphins. I mean, all of them.
Yeah.
But if you're hearing this and you're like, oh, I already bought the UDK, but I would like to be a Foot Clan member, we've got something special for you.
Sure.
All off season. You can just use what you paid for the UDK as a prorated discount on the Ultimate Foot Clan membership. So if you go to jointhefoot.com and you had already bought the UDK, we'll just give you a full credit for that. That way you can become. It's automatic. As long as you're logged in.
Hydromatic.
It is. We can't sing the lyrics of
I
that
know.
song.
No, we
can't sing the lyrics
What,
of that
from
song.
famous kids musical?
Grease? There you go. So let's jump in. Quick question of the day. Speaking of the draft, what team are you most excited to see make their picks in day 1 and 2?
I am most excited for the Seahawks because at 32 or 64, they're taking a running back. They've had a bunch of running backs in. They've got a need. There's no free agents out there. And it's the number one most enticing landing spot. I mean, you could argue if you take high draft capital at 7, maybe the Commanders are a better landing spot. But this is a Super Bowl winning team that wants to run the ball. And they have the perfect draft capital to spend. Like, the 32nd pick
is perfect
to take the second running back ahead of where you expect him to take. But the 64th pick is still great. You're talking about a second-round pick. That's high draft capital. And I do believe that they'll take a running back in one of those two spots. If not, they'll take him in the third round. But if they take one in one of those two spots.
I promise the first 2 picks, they will take one. But if they don't, there's just the next pick.
I said, I believe.
And if they don't take one with the third, fourth pick for sure.
But they will have another running back on this team via draft, free agency,
5th pick, 6th pick.
The George Holani Hive will come for you, Jason.
Here's what I think, Jay. Here's what the actual prediction is. I don't think it's 32. I think it's in the middle of the second round with a trade up.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Let's say
which is another one of the many ways they can acquire
they can do it via trade. If they use one of the first 2 picks on a running back, would that running back basically automatically be the number 2 running back in
behind
Dynasty?
Charbonnet?
Yeah, no, behind
rookie
Jeremiah Love.
No, not at all. No, I don't. I think it will depend. My opinion might change really close to the season if Charbonnet's progression is really poor. But, I mean, they did pick up Emmanuel Wilson. This is a team that just won the Super Bowl. I don't know if you hand over, a workload that you're proud of to a rookie right out of the gate. They love Charbonnet to the point where they demoralized Mike on a weekly basis for years. So efficiency isn't the most.
Find out.
Efficiency has been proven to them, by them, that it is not the most important thing on their agenda. Because if it was, Ken Walker would have been playing more. They want somebody in there that does all the dirty work and does the stuff they need done. That would not give me the level of confidence.
They need someone who's had 639 career touches and only 1 fumble. That type of a rookie that could come in as
Who's that?
Is that Coleman?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
If it's 32, if it's pick 32, then I think maybe I have a different answer for you because it'll be a name I like. But I do think there's a difference between 32 and beyond.
If it's Jonah Coleman, he'll probably be my number 2.
There you go.
Because that's just
all will be answered in 7 days.
Stop hating on Jonah Coleman, people.
Really, 8 days. We need day 2.
Jason needs all 3 of them.
Well, right, because if they don't take a running back with the first 3 picks, then on the 3rd day,
don't get me started on the 2027 options they have at running back. All right, for me, I'm going to throw out just basically the Chiefs with draft capital.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's just kind of exciting to have a team that we talk about how much we're like, oh no, the Browns, oh no, the Jets. How about a team that like you could paint some nicer pictures with, like some exciting future stars? Yes, Kelsey's going to be back, but if they get another tight end, you can start looking to the future. 3 top 30 picks, right? I mean, you've
seen mock drafts with Tyson or one of the big three at number 9. You've seen mock drafts still with Jeremiah Love falling there. You've seen mock drafts with them taking
two top 30 picks. Sorry about that.
With them taking Sadiq. There are a lot of offensive weapons that could go to Patrick Mahomes, which is obviously exciting.
Yeah, they had three wide receivers with top 30 visits and 2 picks in the first round.
I'm excited for this Pittsburgh Steelers pick in 21 of the right now the Arizona Cardinals are just that everyone is linked them to Ty Simpson of either a trade up or whatever, but they're the team to look out for to get Ty Simpson. And it's like the Steelers, we have a new regime. What are they going to do moving forward? Is McCarthy, are they content of just being held hostage by Rodgers, not knowing if he is or is not coming back, which they may have that information right now and we don't know it. But there's no future for this team at quarterback, and I'm sorry, Will Howard people. There hasn't been a clear future for them since Big Ben.
I mean, to just
that's so long ago
the problem
for
is
a team that keeps being a playoff type of a team to have no future that's wild.
Yeah, that's the issue, is the fact that they didn't have a plan, and it was Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett was he was Ty Simpson. And I don't think as a franchise they want to do that
Ty
again.
Simpson. He was the first quarterback taken that year.
I feel like this is a really interesting year for Pittsburgh altogether because without Mike Tomlin, I feel like Mike Tomlin was doing the Spider-Man gif of just holding this team at a good record, right? Like they couldn't fail to the degree that they needed to get another quarterback and to rebuild. He's always holding on to 8 and 9, 9 and 8, I guess.
Yeah, we call that the Jason Moore NBA Finals gif now.
Yeah, and so I feel like it could be the year
shorts.
With like the Ravens. Are the Ravens better than the Steelers?
Yes.
Okay, are the Bengals better than the Steelers?
Yes.
I could
currently
see,
the Steelers don't have a quarterback, so
yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, let's move on.
Also, Dallas and Cincinnati. Don't worry about defense.
No, this draft is really anti-defense.
You're in a hard position there, though. You want to keep the Bengals with this high-flying offense because they have to score 30 in order to have a chance of winning.
Yeah, I do.
But
Jeremiah Love's not dropping to 10.
I know, but I'm just saying you don't want them to draft a high running back for your Chase Brown.
He's not dropping to 10.
Probably won't.
He won't.
Tennessee at number 4.
Yes.
All right. We have a lot of names to get into. Let's jump right in.
Wide receivers.
All right, our early top 15 rankings at the wide receiver position here on recorded April 15th. It's April 16th when you're listening to it. What makes a top 15 fantasy wide receiver? Over the last 5 years, a top 15 fantasy wide receiver averaged 142 targets, 95 receptions, 1,270 yards, and 8.8 receiving touchdowns. I'm going to be honest. Reading those numbers, they all seem higher than I would have expected for top 15 average. Those seem to me like top 8 average or something like that.
Well, I mean, you have the guys
that overwhelm.
The super tippy top always, they're really pulling the average up.
So over the last 5 years, 77% of top 15 wide receivers average at least 7.5 targets per game. They are traditionally the alphas of the offense. High target share. We love that. 64% of them have had at least 8 receiving touchdowns. So, touchdowns, they fluctuate a little bit, but the big dogs, they get in the end zone at least 8 times. And then they were on teams that average 9.7 wins.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time with running backs that you need to be on winning teams if you're not, especially if you're not the pass-catching running back. But we don't feel that way as much about wide receivers because, if you're down, you got to throw the ball. But the truth is, the top
How'd
ones,
that work for Minnesota?
The top ones come from the best teams. You need wins, so it's kind of universal across fantasy, and it's one of those things where it's like everybody knows it. We kind of know of course we'd rather have a better offense than a worse offense, a good team versus a bad team. But if you just kind of follow that a little bit more strict as a tiebreaker, you're going to help yourself more than you think.
I do feel like the years where I had that as more of a draft day focal point, I've had more success. I just thought
too easy.
I mean, let's just look briefly before we get into our names. I'm just going to look at the top 10 guys last year. Puka, winning team. JSN, winning team. Amon-Ra, they were above 500, right?
I think.
Yeah, they were above 500.
Jamar Chase, not so much.
Elite offense, though.
George Pickens, same story, not above 500. Chris Olave, not above 500. Zay Flowers, they did it. Adams, Houston and Nico Collins, no. Yes. And then Jamison Williams and Cortland Sutton were the next two on the list. So I was just curious.
Yeah, Lions were 9 and 8.
Yeah. All right, our number one by consensus, number one for both of you guys. I guess he's number 2 for me on my initial rankings.
That's fine.
It wouldn't probably happen in a draft, but that's where I have it right now. It's tough. Jamar Chase, he's pretty good. He had 182 targets. That's nice. It's the most since Cooper Kupp had 191 in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 guys at the top in ADP and in most people's hearts, which I believe you've got Puka 1,
Yep.
Chase, and then JSN last year's wide receiver 1. You can make your arguments for them in any order. I think the best athlete is Jamar Chase, the most explosive plays, those huge week-winning fantasy production. That comes from Jamar Chase more often than the other two. And then the tiebreaker for me, which I don't know if it's a complete tie enough to need a tiebreaker, but I do like the fact that Joe Flacco is there. Should something happen, I mean, we've seen this we saw this with Jamar Chase last year when their quarterback goes down and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're not good anymore if the backup can't come in and throw enough.
He doesn't have 182 targets last year without Joe Flacco.
Right.
Joe Flacco, 23 targets in week 7? That was crazy. That's tied for the 3rd most ever in a game. I mean, you don't have to say a lot of things about Jamar Chase. Everybody knows who he is, what he's about, and how dominant he can be in fantasy. Number 2 is Puka Nacua. I do have him ranked number 1. The Rams are going to be awesome. I mean, the Rams are going to be great again. I guess the storyline of Matthew Stafford's health is kind of fading away at this point, where they've just managed him well in the offseason now. And so in the beginning of that, it kind of felt like, oh, we're worried about that management. Now it's like, this is the plan to get him to play 17.
This time last year, and not this time, but even further in, like getting close to draft day, it seemed like scary. The idea that Matthew Stafford would play a whole season seemed like I would have bet $1 against it. And then all of a sudden now I'm saying if I have to bet one way or the other, that's the side I would have put it on.
You would have risked $1.
I don't want to risk
putting more on a golf game.
Well, yeah, I know I can beat Jeremy.
Is that a $1,000 bet? Is that what that was?
It was
I think Jason's at 1,000. I don't think Jeremy's there.
Exactly. 100 for me.
Okay, I'll win 1,000 if I win, and you win 100 if you win. I agree. I don't know what we're talking about.
Puka?
Dude, as soon as you got the golf, as soon as you said golf,
you started seeing red?
I saw red,
yeah.
Man. I mean, I can tell you this, before Wednesday, I will be playing golf again, before we play next Wednesday.
Well, yeah, we know that because you're in a very
and I'm going to Top Golf every day.
Yeah, you've spent way too much money in the last week on golf equipment.
Jason's not helping.
To not be
it's not helping.
More golf.
I thought these clubs were going to help.
No good?
Jason showed up to work one day, out of the blue. What is this? This might be last week.
This was out of nowhere.
He's like, "Oh yeah, you did blah blah blah. What'd you do? And, I'm signed up for this golf tournament here." Hold on. Wait, what?
A golf
You're signed
tournament?
up for a golf tournament, a charity golf tournament?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah,
I need some clubs."
Yeah.
I was like, "Jay, you could borrow my clubs." I'll just go get.
Yeah.
I got this big turn. Oh, look at that.
He's out on the links.
I feel good
Magic
now.
Mike's wall.
I feel good. This is where I'm at home.
Well,
is
no,
on
here,
the golf
scoot over
course.
to
In
the
the
left.
sand?
Scoot over to the left just a little bit.
Nice
Just a little
try.
bit over.
This guy's been
Come
in
on.
the sand more than David Hasselhoff.
We were talking about not your golf game, but Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua.
Yeah,
we
you
were
were
talking
in
about Matthew
Stafford's
Stafford's health. Obviously, it is a big issue. I just brought up Joe Flacco. I believe Stetson Bennett is currently the backup on the roster for the Rams, and that would be a travesty. I mean, that would be taking Puka from potentially the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy to, you would hope, maybe target volume his way to be top 10, but probably not. I mean, we saw that with Justin Jefferson. And so the Matthew Stafford health matters, but I agree with you, Andy. They seem like they have a plan in place, and we shouldn't be afraid during the offseason when Stafford is resting, when he's not, out there for some of these scrimmages, clearly not going to be playing preseason.
At least in the if you're like in a half-point league that I'm looking at and on our site, even with missing a game, Puka was the number 1 by our scoring system that we have here on the website for last year. I mean, it is splitting hairs with the big names. I want the target insanity that is Puka Nacua, 166 targets last year. Both of these guys are outstanding. I'll be a little bit curious if my opinion is probably going to change if they go out and they grab.
I was going to say
Makai Lemon
in the first
Carnell
round.
Tate
What if
in the
they
first
add a wide
round.
receiver?
Yeah, I mean it'll just probably put Puka
at 2.
Probably at 2.
So the question for Puka will be, he was sensational in contested catches. He caught truly sensational, 71% of them. Like that's a strong rate. Will he go back to around 50%? Because that will matter. But we're just trying to poke holes right now.
The only holes to poke, I think, are the health of the quarterback. Obviously there's been off-field things, but those aren't actually leaking into games, or actual NFL drama right now from a fantasy standpoint. So that's about it. And then obviously JSN is the only other guy I think that's in this tier.
Yeah, it's funny to think that Burrow, in my mind, is more injury-prone than Stafford, for sure. Like I'm more
because he might be.
If I had to place a bet on who misses games next year, I'd place it on Burrow.
Whole dollar?
Like a whole dollar. I put it on Burrow.
I'd put it on the Stafford side.
Yeah, I mean Burrow is
obviously he's been dealing with injuries.
Burrow's like 50%. So we got 6 seasons for Burrow. Year 1 was that the ACL, and then he played 16. Then you played 10 games in 23, a full season, and then half the season last year.
All right, we got to take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk about that third big name.
Which, for Joe Burrow, just following up on that, how about an offensive lineman?
There you go.
Number 10?
They don't do that in Cincinnati.
Yeah. They should. Big time.
Just be boring.
JSN is number 3 on our consensus rankings. Number 2 for Mike. Number 3 for Jason and myself. He led the league with 1,793 receiving yards last year. He had 12 different top 12 performances. He dominated every quarter of every game pretty much last year. I mean, this was truly a special season for him. They had lost not only their quarterback, but they lost DK Metcalf in the offseason last year. They bring in Sam Darnold, and some people looked at that as neutral. Some people looked at it as a downgrade. And they won the Super Bowl. But from a consistency standpoint, it was unbelievable. 163 targets, 119 receptions, 1,793 yards, and 10 touchdowns. I would expect JSN to be entering this period of his career where he is doing, maybe not those exact numbers, but something similar for a handful of years in a row.
Yeah, his first read targets were outlandish. He is clearly the focal point of that passing game. It does scare me just a smidge in the sense that if they were to use draft capital, maybe trade up and get one of these higher-end wide receivers, I think that's why when we look at the Rams, they're often mocked Lemon because they can pull the trigger on him, and I don't think that the Seahawks can probably get one of those top 3 guys. However, they're clearly looking for that. They need someone else here. Cooper Kupp is old. Yeah, I mean, the depth chart is nobody.
I like Torrey Horton a lot. I mean, I like Arroyo. I don't know if they will spend high capital. And to be honest with you, even if they added Makai Lemon, I'm not downgrading JSN. I'm not. That's he's in the tier with Jefferson and Chase where I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not downgrading the 3 of them in any major ways. But if you were to say who loses more target share, I think from last year, I would say JSN has the most to lose.
Do you have any concerns about the changing of the offense? Because you have Coobs is gone.
I mean, honestly,
you still have the Shanahan system in place.
You don't have the running game necessarily that you
right.
may have had last year.
It
also,
does feel like you might need to throw the ball more here.
Their success, like I don't have that particular number in front of me right now, but just having watched the games, like downfield and intermediate, Sam Darnold to JSN was near perfection for a season, and even the best of the best, you don't keep doing that every single year.
Yeah,
I have them at 2. We're trying to ask some questions.
Find some ways where, I mean, the biggest argument against JSN versus the other two is that JSN has one MVP level elite year, and the other guys have done it for more than 1 year. I mean, that's what I feel. Number 4. Okay,
this is where it gets interesting.
Jason tried to keep him away from number 4.
I sure did.
Mike and I have him.
It doesn't belong
4.
at 4.
No.
His name's Justin Jefferson.
Oh, I'm looking at number 5. Sorry.
Okay. No, Justin Jefferson. Mike and I have him at number 4.
I do not have Jefferson at 5.
Jason's got him at 7.
This one's the collar's a little tight.
Agreed.
It's a little,
Last year was really, really rough. This was the wide receiver 22 last year.
Is Kyler actually going to work?
We've seen.
That's the question.
That's everything. We've seen the Hopkins years.
Everything for Justin Jefferson is, do you believe that Kyler works? If you do, then Justin Jefferson can finish as the number 1 overall wide receiver. If Kyler doesn't, or if he's average and you're
did Sam Darnold work? Did Sam Darnold work in Minnesota?
Yes,
he worked, right? I mean, yes, they didn't make that run, but they had an amazing season. I think it works enough. Because what do I trust? I trust that Kevin O'Connell's going to continue to throw the football even if his quarterback is
he will.
Not necessarily always on. He's going to throw it. He's going to put the trust in that quarterback. They don't have the running game or the running game personnel to take over in that fashion. And so, yeah, I do have confidence that Jefferson, I mean, it was a down year fantasy-wise, but he still had 141 targets. We just read that number about where you need to be. I mean, it was a super down year for him. Still over 1,000 yards. He just didn't score. This team couldn't score on offense. I feel like, what are these? These are splits with and without J.J. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So with J.J. McCarthy, it was 4 receptions a game
for about 54
yards. With just with non-McCarthy, he was about 6 for 73.
Which so is like 10 fantasy points a game, which is still bad.
Right.
I mean, but that would be a 97 for 1241 year. It's just the touchdowns.
The touchdowns are the big deal, and that's honestly why, like, Kyler's going to work out. Kyler will work out for the Vikings. Kyler is good enough to support Jefferson being a top fantasy option. I've got Jefferson at 7, and really the next 3 guys that I've got ahead of him are all up. Well, all but one to me are up for debate. The issue is touchdowns, and Kyler can be very good for the team and throw a lot of yards, but he's never been a major touchdown thrower. Even when he's having his great fantasy seasons, and he was the number 2 quarter, a lot of that was rushing touchdowns. 26 passing touchdowns is the most that Kyler's ever had in his career, and that was when he was better and braver, stood in the pocket. Maybe this will be his best year ever.
Braver Kyler.
Yeah, but assuming it's not the best Kyler we've ever seen, I think that it will be difficult for Jefferson to be the number 1 overall. Like that great year Kyler had with Hopkins. Hopkins was the number 5 wide receiver. That's pretty good.
So you would take Jefferson out of consideration in your mind right now to finish at 1?
Yeah, I don't think Jefferson with Kyler is going to finish at 1.
Like you don't think it's possible? Do you think it's possible, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Possible.
Yeah, I get it. I would say that a lot of people are going to turn to, I mean, number 5 on the list is Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I think that's the one in particular that will be a difficult choice for people in terms of offensive consistency. You know what Amon-Ra brings to the table. I've got him at 5, Jason at 4, Mike has him at 7.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And he has finished as the wide receiver 3, the wide receiver 3, and the wide receiver 3 the last 3 years. That's the one where I'd have a really hard time taking Jefferson, who we just saw finish
at 22.
In a full season with bad quarterback play over the guy that's like Nothing's changing for Amon-Ra. You've got the quarterback, you got the offense, you got.
He can't finish at 1.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that too.
And so if you believe, like Mike does, that Jefferson still could, that'd be the case for Jefferson. Is hey, I could get a number 1 season. Amon-Ra, I don't think he could do that. But man, he does a lot.
I mean, the argument
172 targets.
The argument for Amon-Ra actually doing it. Number 1 is like over the last handful of years, the only quarterback who's thrown 4,500 yards every year is Jared Goff.
Okay.
And number 2 is, which I saw a discussion online, kind of, got the brain going of like, while we're all, like, hey, Montgomery's gone, and you're just thinking about Jahmyr Gibbs. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, he could be the RB1. Yes, of course. They also, when Gibbs is on the field, they throw the ball more.
They do.
This is not saying that Gibbs won't play, he won't get handoffs or anything, but he's such a weapon in the passing game.
He's a goal line wide receiver
that
too.
you can do those types of things. So I wonder if their pass percentage goes up just a click or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it does that, then Amon-Ra,
Jameson Williams will finally be the guy you want him to be.
Every ounce of their passing game going up helps Amon-Ra. He is the number 1 target by a wide margin, and he's utilized around the red zone, led all wide receivers in red zone targets last year. So the touchdowns are there. Sometimes old Amon-Ra, it was like, oh, he's a slot guy. I'm not sure if he can
flip-flopping those.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So it's like the touchdowns
Amon-Ra
can be
and
there.
Jefferson.
The receptions are going to be there. The offense
so much
is
riskier.
Yeah, he is.
That's the facts.
And
maybe not that much difference in upside. Maybe you're talking me into, before we do stats, just mentally. I'm going to do it right now. Hold on.
I'm
in my head.
too.
Okay.
And I did.
All right. Okay.
I did it.
Now that we
Our
get past
consensus-
Amon-Ra,
Yeah.
if we're going Amon-Ra and then Jefferson, now is where it gets the next 2 a little dicey for maybe me not having Jefferson there.
CeeDee Lamb at 6.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb is 27 years old now. Jason at 5. Me and Mike have him at 6. CeeDee Lamb
is still very, very good, everybody.
CeeDee Lamb is great. CeeDee Lamb had a special 2023. A lot of players do this, where they have 1 year that is just their best. I mean, you don't get a repeat, right? This is not a computer. You don't hit the button and get the same stats. That's why people hate fantasy sometimes. They want to see it go exactly according to plan. Let's just say a couple of truths about CeeDee Lamb. Number 1, 2023 is going to be the best year he ever had.
Yes.
Number 2, George Pickens is playing for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Those 2 things to me, like, they take CeeDee Lamb out of my number 1 overall potential.
Yeah, I mean, I think George Pickens is legitimate because George was so involved and great, but they had a wide receiver 2 in the year that CeeDee Lamb was the wide receiver 1 that was competent. And not to George Pickens level.
I don't even remember who
was it.
Wasn't that one the
Amari?
Brandon Cooks?
No, I don't think it had.
I'll look that up. See who.
I'd be curious what the highest ranked wide receiver was in fantasy other than Lamb in 2023.
I'm on it.
Mike is on it.
I am now curious. Kyle, get on this. What is the highest ranked wide receiver 2 for a wide receiver who finished as the 1? The
Kyle,
number,
that's for Kyle.
Yes,
that's a Kyle.
that's a Kyle one.
And if Jason was wrong, you put him in the sand trap.
Okay, well, you were definitely wrong, because number 2 in targets that year, that would have been
tight end
Jake Ferguson.
Yeah.
Fergalicious.
Great receiver.
Number 3, that was the Brandon Cooks I catch a touchdown every week at the end of the year season.
Okay.
But he only had 657 yards.
Yeah. So not a George Pickens.
No.
Not well. That's I said he was definitely better.
If you take Ferguson and Cook's numbers and you
smash
them together, you get George Pickens.
Let me ask you a question, Jason.
Okay.
Was CeeDee Lamb a disappointment last year?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think mostly because of the injury. I think if the injury did not happen, he would not have been a monstrous disappointment.
Lowest points per game since his rookie season.
Yeah, I mean, the process, as someone who had him and you know, you had a full goose in one of his games that kind of brings down that average.
Yes.
The game he got injured, he played 9% of snaps, had 0 for 0 for 0, and that's averaged into all those points.
In the final week of the
Why
season.
did he do that? Did you ever think about asking?
Yeah, he shouldn't. I mean, honestly,
he said it hurt.
You're supposed to get hurt at the end of the game. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And Jay, just a reminder of the final week of the season, that game against the Giants.
Yeah.
That was like
fake.
It was a fake game. Dak played half of it. It was garbage. So
are you taking Amon-Ra ahead of him every time?
Ahead of CeeDee Lamb, yes.
Every time.
Every time.
But it just like if you take those games out of the average, it's still going to be a lower than you were expecting for CeeDee Lamb, but
put it this way.
Still good.
When he came back from the injury, so he's obviously coming back from injury, maybe not be at full strength. The 10 games minus that final game, all of those George Pickens was in, right? So this is like the purest stretch of maybe what we can look forward to next year. That 10-game stretch, he would have had 98 receptions for 1,446 yards. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think there's a special 6 names. I think that you just got to the end of it. I think this is where a line is drawn.
Yeah,
and you start to be more speculative about your success.
Yes, because my number 6, my number 6, I put it in there, but you're going to have a lot of people disagreeing with that. Which we'll get there soon.
I just saw it. By the way, Kyle, did you announce the official? Kyle figured that out.
Oh, really? I have not.
In 2016, Jordy Nelson was the wide receiver 1 when Devontae was the wide receiver 8. That is the highest.
Okay.
That's why he gets paid the big
CeeDee
bucks.
and George, you got your job to do.
Number 7 on our consensus rankings, 7 for me, 8 for Jason, 9 for Mike. Drake London. The questions around Drake London have nothing to do with him.
Is Kyle a computer?
He is
because I know he went back to Atlanta, and then I'm like, we haven't seen him in person because he comes up with this.
But
stuff
he did
so
live
fast.
here for a long time as a human.
Yeah. But I'm saying post.
You're saying he became?
Maybe someone's replaced him.
Lawnmower Man.
Drake London is. I mean, to me, it's a similar argument. Like if you have an argument against Jefferson, then you have an argument against London. Except for Jefferson, I think is a better player than London. So in that regard, no disrespect to either player, right? You think Jefferson's great. I think London is great. I'm the highest of the 3 of us on London. But this is where you go from the special 6 names to I'm pretty sure it's going to work, but I'm not 100% sure it's going to work. He was great. They have quarterbacks and they're lefties and they've got a bunch of them and they are going to figure out what they're doing. Is it going to be Michael Penix? Is the Penix experiment going to be temporary? Are we going to see Tua start the season? I don't know. Does the team know what it's doing? They lost their general manager that drafted Michael Penix.
They don't. They don't know what they're doing.
I will say this. When Drake London was awesome before his injury in Week 12, every single game he played, because he missed Week 8 just like Michael Penix did, he played with Michael Penix. So I don't think it's the same argument necessarily for we don't know what Kyler's going to bring to Jefferson. Penix might not be that great. But this isn't like hypothetical. We saw the games with.
What weeks? Because you had Drake London started the year horribly for the first 3 weeks.
The first 9 games played for Drake London through that. So he was on pace for 113 receptions, 1,530 yards, and 11 touchdowns. He was
But he wasn't consistent. If you look at I'm looking at these games. He's got 4 games that were pretty disappointing.
And then he was the wide receiver 5, the wide receiver 2, the wide receiver 1, the wide receiver 1, the wide receiver 7, all those with Michael Penix.
I understand, but Michael Penix is not a guarantee to be the quarterback for the year. They could be changing him. So that's the point that I'm saying is that they're trying to figure it might be Tua to start the year.
It could be. Is that a significant downgrade to you?
It's a significant question mark for me versus the top 6 names. That's all. I don't what do we want? We want winning teams.
Okay.
Are they going to be a winning team?
No, I would say that the
Vikings.
You want
a good offense.
I'd say the
half
Vikings
offense.
are a better team than the Falcons.
Yeah, and look, I have them ranked at 7. So again, we're only bringing up the negatives of the top 10. That's pretty much all we're doing is bringing up how it goes wrong, and I think there's a path for it to go wrong with him because it went wrong for Waddle and Tyreek with Tua.
And
they're good players.
What is this new offense? Is Drake London like the top wide receivers? You move them around when you have top wide receivers with a good coach. So that's where the argument is. Because Drake London was moved around a lot, and I guess that sounds like I'm saying the Atlanta coaches were good. They at least moved him around and they put him in the slot, and he was very successful in there. In the slot, only Puka and Rashee Rice had a higher target per route run when he would run his routes from the slot. will the new crew allow him to do that?
This is a player I think too that is the most.
No,
I'm saying they have to because they don't have any. Their depth
it's the logical coaching fallacy that we fall for frequently.
He missed a lot of time last year, and they had nobody else as well. So I wonder if they add somebody.
I mean, they have to add someone. They have to. Jahan Dotson is probably their
Pitts
second best. I mean, Pitts is the number 2 target, but Jahan Dotson, Olamide Zaccheaus, Devin Tompkins, Dylan Drummond, like they don't
that
have
one's
no
made
draft.
up. That one's made up.
Yeah, I did make that.
Look, if they don't draft a wide receiver with their first or second pick,
right? Yeah, what happens then?
Then probably their third.
But what if they don't get him with the third pick?
Okay, what other options would they have at that point?
They will consider using their 4th pick on one of the wide receivers who's left.
1 week and we'll find out.
Number 8 is Malik Nabers. And again,
here we
go.
This one's me. My ranking is very aggressive right now.
Yeah, Mike has him at 5. I've got him at 11. Jason at 9. Mike and I discussed this briefly in the studio. This was 2 different opinions on basically. Right now, I'm going with I'm waiting to see that he's healthy.
That's exactly where I'm at.
To rank him higher. Mike is like, okay, as if he's healthy, I'm going to rank him here.
I'm getting more nervous by the day because the only news that seems to be coming out is not the glowing reports.
Not ahead of schedule stuff?
Yes, not the reports that you really want to see. You know, it's like in my initial going through these guys, I put Malik at 5 because I do fully believe that if Malik can be healthy enough in the off season or like the training camp and get up to full speed faster, like by game 3 or so, I think he will be a true difference maker for your wide receiver crew. And he's being drafted at wide receiver 7 right now in best ball. So the people who are putting money into their drafts are drafting him aggressively because they're sharing the belief that I have of if he's healthy, it's a big if, he's going to dominate. Like he will be
What's
incredible.
wild is we've never got to see Malik Nabers with Jackson Dart.
Exactly.
We have not got to see it at all because they had one throw down the sideline that he caught and tore his ACL.
Like I've personally already seen enough from Dart to go, yep, we can sustain. You give him Malik Nabers, this is the Jefferson type of player who's going to get a 30% target share, and he's just such a strong wide receiver. Yeah, he's a freak athlete, a brilliant wide receiver that he's going to end up in the top 3. But the injury, it was, and a reminder for everyone, it was not just ACL, it was ACL plus meniscus, which is
I think I'm subscribed
far
to
more
ACL
complicated. Nice.
This is
you got the meniscus add-on.
Our number 1 wide receiver is Jamar Chase, and this is the closest of an athlete to Jamar Chase in the rest of the NFL. The ability for him with the depth chart and his freakishness to finish as the number 1 wide receiver overall, I could see happen. But he does have some major flags against him. Obviously, the injury. The other is the team. We talked about is this going to be a top half team? Is this going to be a great offense? Probably not.
It's weird to see the one Jackson Dart week where he did nothing at all in the passing game.
Right.
What does the identity of the offense look like with a new head coach, an offensive coordinator situation? But the talent is there. I'm holding back my enthusiasm until we get better progress reports on the injury. Let's take a break, and then Jason's got a surprise. All right, at number 9 in our top 15 early wide receiver rankings, it is Rashee Rice. I've got him at 12, Mike at 10, Jason's got him at 6. There you go. He's got him ahead of Drake London, ahead of Malik Nabers.
It's just a matter of if he's on the field, he's really good for fantasy.
It doesn't upset me.
We miss, last year he obviously was suspended for the first 6 weeks, and then later in the season they lost Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if that – I think that Rashee wasn't even a part of those
He was
Mahomes
out with
games.
concussion a couple.
Yeah, they're like,
weeks.
wrap it up. Let's go get that draft pick. Good job, Kansas City. That's how you do it. But when he's on the field, he is the first read target. He is the chain mover. He is the end zone target now more than Kelsey. This is a player who scores a ton of fantasy points in all formats. He led the Chiefs in red zone targets and receptions last year. He missed 9 games.
His pace was about 112 for 12-13, which makes sense with the low yards per catch, and 10.6 touchdowns. They manufacture touchdowns for him. Let me tell you my good and bad of Rashee Rice. I don't know if he's as good of a player as he is on the Chiefs in actuality.
100%.
If he just went and played for somebody else.
I
feel like
yep.
there have been players on this team that you're like, I mean, again, none of us think McCole Hardman's a very good player. He's had his moments on the Chiefs, right? When he's been a part of this offense.
He's not Tyreek Hill, where when Tyreek Hill changes teams, he's the best wide receiver in the league still.
Yeah, and I'm not comparing Rice with Hardman. I'm just saying they draw up special plays. You talk about him being a red zone target. I think it's yes and no. Unless when the Chiefs, you're talking about him being this is the guy they do the tap pass to. This is the guy they do the pitch. They do all this drawn up special stuff for Rashee Rice with end arounds and things around the goal line. He's a weapon. He's their best weapon on offense right now. So that's the argument. Now, do we got 100% of Mahomes in week 1? Do we get 100% of Rashee Rice all year? Those are different questions.
Saying pick 9.
Yeah.
Like where the other guys, you're like, hey, if they add a wide receiver to Jamar, I don't really care. Puka, you're like, maybe a little
Jordan
bit.
Tyson to the Chiefs.
Well,
like,
Those things, what would you do then?
These other guys, it doesn't matter. But Jordan Tyson at 9,
anyone at 9.
Or Lemon or Tate. Any of the big 3. That
changes things.
I agree. I mean, that pick is monstrous. This is why Andy said at the top of the show, your answer to the quick question was the Kansas City Chiefs and their draft capital. It's going to shuffle around what we believe of their entire offense. Now, hopefully, it's an offensive lineman.
He's wide receiver 11 in best ball drafts.
They're taking a wide out.
He's a wide receiver 11 in best ball drafts. That puts your gap puts him in that my guy territory today. Like, you know what I mean? Not that you would pick him. It's just that in the disparity between where players are being taken and where you would take them, that's a guy you have a lot of confidence in.
Yeah, I mean,
compared to consensus.
For sure. If they take a wide receiver at 9, which they very well might, I would lower him significantly from the standpoint of he's not the only real asset to lead the way for them. And also I would move him even lower in Dynasty, because that to me would mark he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. Sure, they could franchise him. He wants JSN money. The Chiefs don't want to and are paying Mahomes. He's not going to get JSN money, I don't believe. And so I think that and he carries some off the field issues from time to time. Now it's worth saying from time to time, every now and again, especially the and again part.
Yeah.
It's worth noting that all of the worries of the latest allegation have been checked out by the NFL. They said there's no issue, and he is not getting a suspension.
The commissioner's exempt list is interested in him in free agency.
They're looking, they're monitoring.
Oh, man.
George is number 10. George Pickens comes in at number 10. It was a special year for George Pickens. I guess one of the questions I have for you, where do we have it? I got him at 8, Mike at 8, Jason at 13. Maybe Jason answered it with that ranking. But was that just like a combination of that Lamb injury with a free agent season, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 93 catches? How close to that can he really get this season?
I think he can still get extremely close. He is one of like CeeDee Lamb has the built-in, if CeeDee Lamb misses time, George Pickens is awesome. If Pickens misses time, CeeDee Lamb is awesome. So and then when they're both healthy, they're both
very
excellent.
good.
They're both awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens both putting up 1,700 yards. That won't happen. But the consistency of having him with Dak, and Dak is just such a fantasy-friendly quarterback, I keep my confidence up of what I watched George Pickens do on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I shared it in my CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb is the dominant one here. George Pickens is awesome. He was my guy for me last year because I thought he was being underdrafted, and he matches Dak perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The things that Pickens does matches what they need for that wide receiver too. But the inflated numbers from last year are in part because of that injury. That injury to CeeDee Lamb, those weeks, 2 of those 3 weeks he was the wide receiver 1 and the wide receiver 2. His 17-game pace from those 3 weeks would have been over 2,000 yards and 22 touchdowns. Like, they were monstrous weeks. He got both CeeDee and George's combined stats. But I do agree with Mike. It's not a bad idea when you draft these guys, because should either one go down to an injury, the other will get inflated.
Nico Collins at number 11.
Oh, man.
Where's Mike have him?
12.
Oh, man, you hate Nico.
So Nico's weird because you don't necessarily feel good about the offense. You definitely don't. I mean, they have gotten worse in like their yards per game totals. Like in 2023, the breakout year, they were 12th. Then they went to 22nd, then 18th last year. Stroud really gave people just a lot of hesitancy around the offense. But Nico's awesome. I mean, like it's a very much in spite of situation. Nico gets it done. He's always a threat for 10 touchdowns. Last year, he underwhelmed there. He only had 6. So I feel like with the physicality that he brings to the table, that's always up there. He missed some time, a couple games, still hit 1,000 yards, 71 for 11, 17, and 6.
It's pretty simple to me. Nico is awesome. I don't want to play against Nico Collins in my fantasy matchup because he can go ham. But this is not I feel like this might even be the first guy, well, George as well. They aren't the type of guys that are getting 100 receptions. You know, Nico's going to go out there and get probably 80 receptions. Now, they're deep bomb shots.
Yeah, it's Mike Evans numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And I just prefer the volume and the consistency of others, but I love Nico.
The fact, so right now, again, everything we reference for ADP right now is going to be underdog on best ball. But so his ADP, talking about Nico's wide receiver 10, going at the 302. And George is going at the 212. Like, the fact that a person with an early first-round pick can take Gibbs, and then look who's there for my next 2 selections, George Pickens and Nico Collins. That feels a bit unfair.
I do feel confident. Like, we always ask the question every year, do you like that guy being your number one? Yeah, I do. I'm fine with Nico being my number one.
Yeah, he does
Which
feel
in the third round is
crazy.
That's special.
He would. I mean, he's had, what was it? Was it not last year, but the year before? He was the number one through like the first 12 weeks or something like that. I mean, before he had the hamstring. Okay, so the first 5 weeks. Sorry, before he went down in 2024, I believe he was sitting at like number one.
He was averaging a lot of points. He was averaging 18 points.
I mean, he scored 7 times that year, and he missed 5 games. Last year was an outlier in the touchdown number. I mean, I think he can get to double digit. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
I think it's possible.
I think so, especially with the way, he's got deep shots all the time that can be housed for touchdowns. He had a 6-game stretch last year, weeks 10 through 15, where he was just dominating deep shots. He was on pace for 1,600 yards. I mean, he's great, and I would agree. I would be comfortable with him with my one. He was outscored by this next player in our rankings. We'll have
who I don't feel good as my number one.
We'll have almost for sure more targets and receptions should they both play full seasons. And I agree with you, Andy. I don't feel as confident with him as my number one.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's Chris Olave. Chris Olave had the bounce back year. I got him at 14, Jason at 10, Mike at 11. Tyler Shuck opens up our minds.
I've seen enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good player. It's weird because I don't know if it was the fact he didn't win Rookie of the Year and took it away from him. I feel like I haven't heard as much buzz about him this offseason, but he brings a ton of potential. Kellen Moore, we love that. Tyler Shuck, very capable. Well, he was on 155 target plays, but 15.8 fantasy points per game with Shuck.
The season opened with Spencer Rattler, and even with that, they were putting up in terms of passing yards per game, they were at 21, which honestly, that's not too bad. That says a lot to what Kellen Moore gives us for fantasy football. Tyler Shuck, it's just we're at 7, the 7th most passing yards per game for a second-round rookie. I feel more comfortable with Olave as my one than you guys do. It's
my only thing is the concussions. It really is. That's it. Because I believe he is. I believe Chris Olave is a true wide receiver one in the NFL. Like he is.
Did he
such
have the blood clot last year then too?
I don't remember
how
that.
did he missed the? Remember we were like, he's finally going to play 18
Oh, that's
games.
right. He missed the final game. That was very similar to James
blood
Conner.
clot in his lung.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
In early January 2026, forcing him to miss the season finale.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean the issue
Come
to
on,
me
man.
is the
That
fear
sucks.
of his body. He is so talented. He's got great hands. What do you have? What's wrong with his body?
Yeah, I think
do
so.
you
Do
really
we have that?
Is that this?
Come on, what's wrong with your body?
Yeah,
That's
that's Christian
classic.
McCaffrey.
How'd it work out for Mike?
Off.
How'd it work out for Mike?
We're leaving that.
You
on
gonna
the
take that
screen.
graphic off, or it's gonna leave Jason up
Jeremy,
there? Huh?
hit it. There we go.
Took me a sec to find it.
That's funny.
What was wrong with your? Never mind.
It's a bee. It's a
I
bumblebee.
was stung by a series of
a swarm
allergy bees.
A swarm of bumblebees.
But yeah, what week did Tyler?
He almost died, Andy. And he came in and did a podcast.
What? Yeah, I know.
What a guy.
And then I complained about someone else's body. It's not lost on me.
Your allergic reaction lasted years.
Yeah, it was a real.
That was
a real bad
from
problem.
the original Sting.
Yeah.
That was a good 5 years.
I'm hoping.
When were you stung? 97?
The antihistamines just started working
yeah,
the last
I'm really hoping the antihistamines
365.
stick.
Oh, man.
So
We used to have a good time.
back to Olave. If you
I
look
like
at when
him.
Shuck took over, he started in week 9. Wasn't a great game. He was the wide receiver 44. The next week, it was the wide receiver 6, wide receiver 23, wide receiver 19. These are great games. Down week, wide receiver 51, then 12, then wide receiver 2, then the wide receiver 2. He was really, really good with Shuck. They are another team, I think, at 8 that is looking to add one of these big guys. I've commonly put Carnell Tate, bringing the Ohio State boys together.
Oh, man.
If he falls there past the Browns.
Tyler Shuck with Olave and
Yeah,
Carnell Tate
that's thumbs
would
up
be
for
juicy.
for Shuck, and it probably doesn't hurt Olave either. It just
No,
makes the
it's
offense
fine.
better. I would wonder how we would view the situation with the risk of Olave's injuries and then the top 10 pick
Yeah,
for a
but
guy like Tate. Who would you take?
it was nice to see him play up to his talent last year.
Yeah,
Yes,
finally got to see it.
because this is a guy that when he was coming out was like it was him and Garrett Wilson same year, right?
Yep.
And same team, same year. And I remember feeling stupid because I was like, I think he doesn't have as strong a body, but I liked Olave's route running more, and I thought he was in the same caliber. And this year he
As who?
really
Garrett
as Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Olave was awesome coming out of college.
and
It's just
so-
been a bumpy road,
Yeah.
filled with Derek Carr and other things.
But the Kellen Moore Shuck combo, that's what does it for me because Kellen Moore is great for fantasy.
Ted McMillan at 13, T. Higgins at 14. Let's talk about both of them. I've got Ted at 9.
Wow, really?
I
Mike
love it.
has
I
him
love
at
it.
18. Jason at 12. I'm the reason he's up at 13 here. Look, it's time. I mean, last year was a good, not fantasy dominant, but obviously a rookie of the year winning, offensive player of the year winning season. 70 for 10, 14, and 7. To me, he just profiles as a guy that's going to continue to take the step forward. What we saw on the field last year was a player that at times could be completely dominant, but it was few and far between. It wasn't as good of he was wide receiver 17 last year. It was very hit and miss. He had some really down games. His consistency score was a C, which is 41% of the time above 10.5. That's exactly the kind of player that I look at as a potential breakout. Because if you can finish at 17 with a C consistency score, all you got to do is turn a few of those down games into more consistency, and you're in the top 12, top 10. So to me, he's the candidate that jumped out to me in the top 20 of, maybe for Jason, it was that Rashee Rice 11-6. To me, it was Tet going from he's 14 and underdog. So I'm right there with underdog. It's just
I have no problem with the evaluation of the player. Everything for me is Bryce Young, who is going into year 4, and last year
4 long years.
feels like
Feels like he's
this
a
was
12-year
last
veteran.
year, in year 3, Bryce Young finally hit 188 passing yards per game.
Yeah, baby.
That's the problem for
And he pulled off a
McMillan.
wide receiver 17 as a rookie with that. Incredible.
I'm concerned about how far up can he actually go.
And it
Talk
makes
about Ted.
It makes sense that I'm sitting in between you guys in the rankings because
and here at the table.
here at the table. Because Tetairoa he showed out his rookie year. Given the bad quarterback play,
He
impressed.
25% target share.
25% target share. One of only 12 rookie wide receivers in the last decade to have 1,000 yards in their rookie season. Right now, it feels like, if you don't get that, you're not good. Most people don't get that. The list of guys who have put up 1,000 in their rookie
Marv didn't get it.
Yeah, exactly. Is usually a who's who of who breaks out for fantasy going forward. The Bryce Young problem is real, and he's going to have to step up. But I also don't think, we've seen this we've been talking about this with the horse child, a.k.a. T-Law, Trevor Lawrence.
I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, if at home, if you saw and got duped.
Oh, I did. I know where you're going.
Yeah, you got duped.
I did. There was a Trevor Lawrence.
Every offseason, there's a Trevor Lawrence cut his hair.
There was a Trevor Lawrence cut his hair.
Every offseason.
He looked so good.
And he looked so good.
Not like a horse.
No, he looked like a man.
He looked, you're like, this dude's going to be on magazines.
Yeah.
And it turned, it was fake.
It was fake. Yeah. A lot of haircut things can happen with AI now. Listen, Tetairoa last year, speaking to the Bryce Young problem, but also a rookie, also figuring things out. Can Bryce Young take a step forward? Guys like Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, their catch rate. Amon-Ra and Chase, 68%. Puka, 78%. 57% last year for Tetairoa McMillan. So the targets.
I can tell you.
What's the catchable ball
rate?
I guarantee that was a huge part of the problem.
Quarterback for those first few guys.
The thing is if 57%, that scales up if the targets go up. And 122, you got a lot of room up.
He's got it. If Bryce Young doesn't take a substantial step forward, then McMillan has to be up at about 30% of the targets. And I don't know if that will happen.
All right, we got to talk about Higgins.
I love Tetairoa McMillan. I think that him on a strong team, he'd be in the top 12.
Well, they could win the division. I mean, they definitely could do that. Tetairoa, we just talked about him. T. Higgins, Mike, you are always all about T. Higgins. That's why it's so weird that you're the lowest of the three of us.
Classic, I told you, man.
Classic.
Ranking these guys without the actual statistics was very hard.
I mean, this is not a guy I would ever feel
Higgins
comfortable
rules.
as my wide receiver one. Ever.
That's right.
Nor do the Bengals.
Play to win.
But don't look at the first 6 weeks when they didn't have a quarterback situation. Don't look at the 2 weeks he missed because he's always hurt a little bit. But look at all the other weeks. I mean, this is
Ken Walker. This is Ken Walker of the wide receivers, which is why these are both players beloved by Mike. There are easy statistical narratives to paint as to why he is a phenomenal fantasy asset. He has monstrous fantasy games.
He's really a good player.
He's a really good player. His splits in healthy games where you've got Jamar Chase active and Burrow active, and we got to throw this one in too. Higgins plays the whole game. Doesn't get injured midway or super early in the game because that's happened way too many times. When those things, which should be normal things, happen,
when Jupiter
he's so
aligns.
good. He's so good. And the thing is you go, well, shouldn't most games be like Burrow, Higgins, and Chase are just playing football? Yeah. When that happens, he's great for fantasy. Just doesn't happen a lot.
I mean, do you think it's a surprise that he signs an extension that says you get a very substantial per game check if you play, and he appears in 15 games, his highest since 2022? Look,
money talks and it walks, apparently.
Do not love that this man missed 2 separate games with concussion, and also seemed like he had a game where he
needed to miss.
To us on the outside, it looked like he got concussed at least 3 times in a singular game. But he's such a good player. This is the Bengals and Dallas. They are the same. Both wide receivers on those teams. I would love to have them.
All right, our last name
Crazy.
He's still here. A.J. Brown at 15 to finish out our early wide receiver rankings.
It's crazy. It's crazy. He was the wide receiver 10 last year. He missed 2 games. He's like, no, I don't want him. The Eagles don't want him either. Nobody like, we're done with A.J. Brown. He's pretty darn good. He is an alpha. I feel like you could have him as your wide receiver 1 for your fantasy team and be okay.
Does he rank higher or lower on the
higher on the Patriots?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yes, for sure.
I don't think he'll be an Eagle. I don't. Every time I see a press conference or a conversation, I think they are perfectly handled with the he's an Eagle, which is a fact. He's an Eagle. Yep, we know.
Well, he's actually a human.
Well, okay. Yeah, I don't think they meant that biologically speaking. I think it's more about that's their team.
Maybe they should
mascot
clarify
and name.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Words matter on this show.
He was wide receiver 10 in spite of a
horse child.
Tumultuous. Yes, and that one is different.
Yeah. That was biological.
DNA-wise.
I want to make that clear. I believe he's.
In fact, we might have a picture of him. I'm not sure. But yeah, A.J. Brown, in spite of, I think the clock is ticking. I think we all know that. I think in Dynasty, I'm not enthusiastic about this situation.
For sure. He'll be 29 this year when he plays.
He also he comes across as the dude that's just like, when it's over, it's over. I'm just going to.
Yeah, those big wide receivers have a habit of being done at the end. I don't think he is, though.
He's not done. He could carry an offense.
Yes, I think he could carry an offense.
On those big, broad shoulders.
We're all really excited for the potential of all the rumors of him going to the Patriots. I don't know that that's going to happen.
Not Team Romeo Dobbs over here, but
Of course you're not. Of course you would prioritize
because of Romeo
Dobbs over A.J. Brown. And
if Romeo Dobbs were on your dynasty team right now, you would say the exact same thing, Jason Moore.
You don't have any Drake May exposure that wants to see him take the next step?
I don't. Not in dynasty.
Do we have?
Well, I've got
we have the horse.
Smith, so get out of here, A.J. Brown.
Oh yeah. Oh, weird that you're talking up A.J. Brown.
All right, let me fire off these names because we gotta shut it down. Garrett Wilson at 16, Adams at 17, Jameson Williams at 18, Zay Flowers at 19, and Luther Burden at 20.
Ooh.
On our initial rankings. Devontae Smith at 21, Evans Ibuka back-to-back at 22, 23, not on the same team anymore, and Terry McLaurin at 24 to round out those early wide receiver rankings. So we're going to shut it down, but we'll be back draft week next week. Join the okay.
Oh my goodness.
That's the new haircut?
Yeah, that's the horse man.
He did cut his mane.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.